Welcome to our workshop. Most of you probably know our M4s. We built them around 3 years ago. If you haven't seen the build or want to rewatch it, check it out up here. And the approach was that the cars are not only competitive, but also can do show events, video production, taxi events. The latter three, we've done many in the past 3 years. So we've been around with the Red Bull Racing F1 show team for different show runs all over Europe. We've been at Goodwood Festival of Speed 2 times in the UK, and we actually also managed by the end of 2022 to be in South Africa at the BMW M Festival. The level for those cars was really high because it was 4 days of M Festival with multiple shows per day and another 2 days of filming after that with Jason Goliath and Nicholas Goliath. Was great, meaning the cars need to be able to be maintained while we are away. And also for the shows, we had like 15-minute stints, and this is a lot of time for a drift car, because in competition you normally have 2 stints, about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and you have time in between to cool. But those cars, they need to fill for example 10 to 15 minutes of a show. That's why we also had this funky cooling layout, that we have one radiator pack in the front, another one in the rear, that we are actually able with this 1000 horsepower to be able to drive 10-minute shows, 15-minute shows. Also, what we have to mention, the basis, the G87 M2 is just a brilliant car. The weight distribution, chassis stiffness, all the things are in the right place. And obviously the heart, the S58 engine is just a dream. Like, this is amazing. We did the engine development on our side. We modified a couple parts. You can also check out how the engine looks from the inside in that video here. We talk about more than 1000 horsepower, and the engine is just running reliably, which is amazing on that power level. And this is obviously, thanks to BMW M for building such a nice chassis and such a nice engine. But we love the challenge and we have a competitive nature. So that's why for this year's off-season, we put our focus on the G87 chassis. New chassis for us, the current M2. And we plan to have that ready for the next season to be back in competition. We're constantly developing our pieces and processes further, and some of the pieces are so far developed that we want to put them to real-life testing. That's why we decided to have a testing vehicle, and this vehicle is that. As you hardly can tell, this is an HGK built F22 Eurofighter, and not any build, it's actually the first build. Back like 7 years ago, there was also this iconic video from Robbie Works, millions of views. You can check it out, maybe here. So this is this exact chassis, and as you can see, there's a lot of space for our latest and greatest S58 crate engine, this time with dry sump, more RPM, even more responsive. So this will be a banger. And why do we have this car here and why do we place all that in? The reason is we are planning to build the G87, so the current M2 model, for next year to be in competition and to be competitive there. And this one is a real-life test vehicle. So there are many things that you have to take into account if you want to build a competitive drift car nowadays, because the level is incredibly high. One of the things that you normally start with is the chassis and all the chassis prep that you have to do. So one integral part is the roll cage, which is already done here, then some suspension mounting points, this, that, and so on. This is all done here already. So we can really focus on our engine package, transmission, and after that, once the car is running, on the suspension setup. Also, we have some new ideas regarding the cooling layout. We also have some new bits for our engines. and we want to try that real life experience with it. Because if we end up with the G87s and we realize, for example, the static weight distribution is not what we like to drive, it would be a shame. And that's why we took the opportunity to have here a car that is very close and a lot of work already done, so we can really focus on the points where we see the most potential for us to be competitive next year. So the main goal for this project is that we finish the build, we first off shake it down, and then really go testing and practicing and adjusting suspension, that we get a lot of real-time data before winter hits here in Germany, and that we can use this data to build for us the best possible G87 that we actually can. And for the next weeks, we will be heavily working on that. We want to give you as much update as we can on that. And if you have specific questions, for example, dry sump, it's the first time that we internally use a dry sump system, how it works, how you have to put it to the car, to the engine. These are things, write them in the comments. Also, subscribe to our channel so you get all the updates. Follow us on Instagram and you will see everything that we do the next couple weeks. So on this point, thanks for watching and hope to see you next week.